Coraline's story is based on a true event in Hampshire, England. A few years ago, an old woman and her granddaughter lived there, and rumors circulated about the woman practicing witchcraft. The girl's parents had died in a fire, and she survived because her grandmother rescued her from the burning house. The grandmother kept the girl isolated, and they avoided talking to anyone. One night, some children decided to enter their house. Inside, it was dark and smelled musty, with scattered children's clothes around. They found the girls' room, where a surprising discovery awaited them: a small, shared body dressed with buttons for eyes. The old woman, finding the children, tried to harm them. They escaped, but one got seriously hurt. The neighbors, alarmed by the scene, called the police, leading to the old woman's confinement in a psychiatric center. During the investigation, police found books about the town's children and witchcraft in the woman's house. Underneath the house, they discovered the remains of a girl missing for years. It's believed the old woman intended to use another child's body to house her granddaughter's spirit.
10 of Scaretober, hole to the underworld. The Soviet Union in the early 1970s drilled a hole more than 7.5 miles deep in Siberia. The drill broke through into a cavity, and the scientists decided to lower extremely heat-tolerant microphones to see what was down there. They recorded about 17 horrifying seconds of audio before the microphone melted. And this is what they recorded.
You guys know the drill when you see this background. I'm only telling you once. Today's story is on the gory side, so viewer discretion is advised. It's story time. Take a seat. I can't believe Nemo just touched that butt. On August 17th, 2003, there was a man by the name of Doug McKay who was the co-owner of this carnival in Seattle, Washington. On this day, Doug would be oiling up a section of the carnival's most famous ride. It went by the name of the Super Loop 2. Doug would be scanning the area of this roller coaster, looking at it, trying to figure out which parts to oil while it was still active and full of passengers. As the ride began going through its famous loop, Doug McKay was standing right underneath it. Unfortunately for Doug, his hair would be blowing straight up from the wind, and it would cause it to get caught by the wheels on this roller coaster. After his hair was caught, the momentum of the roller coaster was just so great that it swooped him off his feet and just started carrying him along with the other passengers. After a short while of being ragdolled through the air by this ride, there'd be a piece of metalwork that was sticking out, and it would go across his throat, cutting it. The cut wouldn't be enough to kill him, but it would be enough to spray blood all over this little boy by the name of Dylan Bowles, who was directly in front of them when this happened. He would be the only one out of 30 people on that ride who got sprayed by Doug's blood. But the worst was yet to come. While Doug was still barely alive, the ride would loop the loop again, and this loop was so great that it tore his scalp clean off his head. The separation of his scalp would free him from the roller coaster, but with his throat cut and his head scalped, it sent blood spraying everywhere. Wait for it. Directly on a class of children who were standing in line for another ride. After these poor kids had been sprayed with blood, Doug would continue his journey through the air and crash into this beam that folded him in half like a lawn chair. He would finally die after hitting the concrete that was below him, but the impact was so great that it caused his guts, brains, you name it, to splatter everywhere. And remember, kids were here. Oh, and the icing on the cake, the splatter from that would get all over another bunch of kids who were just unfortunate to be walking by at the time. Gross. After this mayhem finally came to an end, the police and the fire department would come by really fast and try to cover up everything, but it'd be too late for the people that already saw it. The Super Loop 2 would be closed for the remainder of the summer and be used as a sort of memorial for Doug. Like and comment for more stories.
These girls are force-fed to be fat. They are taken to fattening farms in the middle of the desert, where they are fed the equivalent of 30 cheeseburgers a day. Obviously, these girls can't handle that amount of food. Like, look how small they are. So this happens. And if they refuse to eat, they are beaten. They also put illegal drugs in this food to make them gain weight faster. These girls are sent here by their parents. And this lasts 2 to 3 months. This all happens because here, girls get married like before they're 15. And the bigger the girl, the easier it is for them to find a husband. And obviously this is really important to their families, and so this is why their families send them here. And obviously force-feeding people or trying to gain or lose weight really quickly is really dangerous for your health. So when this all happens, these girls get really, really sick. It's not only like headaches and vomiting, this increases their risk of developing really severe diseases. People from this camp have developed diabetes, heart disease, liver failure, kidney failure. And part of this is because of the extra stuff that they put in the food. Like, they're literally given animal steroids to get them to gain weight faster. Part 2 is already up. Follow my TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube for more if you like my content. It really helps when you interact.
Scary Things Kids Say Part 18. On a flight with my son, the plane took off and hit a couple bumps. The passengers were being somewhat quiet and my son yelled, "We're all gonna die." My 3-year-old son was softly singing while he was coloring. I stopped to listen, but I had never heard that song before. I asked him where he learned it and he said, "The lady in my bedroom sang it to me." No. When I was about 4, my mom found me in the bathroom with all my Barbies, making them float face down in the bath. When she asked what I was doing, I replied, "The man in the wardrobe told me if I didn't do it, it would be my turn to swim face down." A huge thunderstorm one night, my son, about 4 at the time, put his hands on the sliding glass door and says, "Oh God, don't take me, I'm too young to die." Looks back at my mom, "Take grandma, she is old." When I was really little, I pointed to a tree outside my house and said to my family, "That tree is going to die." No one thought anything of it, but the next morning it randomly fell over and crushed my grandpa's car.
This is the scariest story about the call. There was a girl named Sophia who was in elementary school. It was the end of lunch break and she was sitting in class talking to her friends, when her teacher suddenly came over to her with a pale, serious face. She said, "Sophia, I have some bad news. Your mother was in an accident at work. Get your things and go to the principal's office now." Sophia was shocked and didn't know what to think, but she packed her bag and went anyways. The principal was waiting for Sophia in his office. He said, "I just got off the phone with your father. He told me your mother was badly injured. He's rushing to the hospital right now and he's going to pick you up on his way. You will wait outside and he will pick you up. Now hurry along." Sophia then said, "But sir, I don't have a father. We are a single parent family. My dad died when I was a baby." The principal's jaw then dropped. After that, Sophia's mother then came to the school and complained. And she was completely fine and wasn't injured at all. The police were then called and nobody was able to walk home that day. To this day, Sophia still wonders who the mystery man was who called, and what he planned to do with her once he managed to get his hands on her.
This town is so haunted they had to permanently close it to the public. This is Dudleytown, Connecticut. Dudleytown, Connecticut is a haunted, abandoned town in Cornwall, Connecticut, and has a creepy history. Visitors who have explored there say that once they enter, it's otherworldly in there. Creepy. First of all, it's reportedly completely silent. You can't hear birds, animals, bugs, nothing. A researcher compared entering the heart of Dudleytown to standing inside a recording studio booth. Another common complaint from visitors is that a lot of the photos they take in Dudleytown won't develop, but as soon as they leave, their cameras will work just fine. Which makes sense, as I had a really hard time finding really any photos of Dudleytown when I was researching. The creepy legend of the town is years ago, the Dudley family fled to the US after one of their family members was taken care of after plotting against King Henry VIII. They settled in Connecticut and the bad luck followed. Residents of Dudleytown began suffering a series of devastating crop failures and mental illness was rampant in the village. There were countless mysterious disappearances within the village and all-around chaos overwhelmed Dudleytown. By the early 1900s, it was completely abandoned. For fans of the Conjuring films based on paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren, the two visited Dudleytown and outright declared that it was extremely haunted and controlled by something terrifying. Investigators agreed that Dudleytown is some kind of a portal. But here's where it goes from spooky to downright bizarre. The owners, the Dark Entry Forest Association, closed Dudleytown to the public and don't do anything to dispel the rumors. In fact, they refuse to be interviewed for the most part, and the owners go to great lengths to conceal their identities. On top of that, if you are caught trespassing in Dudleytown, you will be heavily prosecuted. This is so strange to me. We see so many other ghost towns around the world, and usually they keep these places open for tourism. You know, profit off the history and the spookiness.
So times true for strange non-fiction. The case of Richard Trenton Chase is a story which even the most depraved horror writer would struggle to create. Over the course of 4 weeks spanning across 1977 and 1978, Richard Chase took the lives of 6 innocent victims in Sacramento, California. His murders gradually progressed in violence, beginning with drive-by shootings and culminating in acts of cannibalism.
I just killed my children.
Excuse me?
I just killed my children.
Where are you?
I'm in the abandoned house on Highway 77 right after you go underneath the highway. One of them's still alive. Hurry.
How? Under what highway? You're on Highway 77 where?
I'm on Highway 77 right after you go under 35 going towards Milford. Get an ambulance out here to save the one that didn't die. Come on. Hurry up.
What's your name?
Bitch, call them. Have you already called them?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
Okay.
I need your name.
I don't want to tell you my name.
Hello?
Hello?
Are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
'77 toward Milford, right after you cross under the bridge. She's telling me she's killed her children. Are you in your car?
No, I'm not in my car. I'm in the house walking around. And one of them's still alive for real. She's asking to be saved, and I couldn't handle that. And so now
She's in an abandoned house at
it's
that
been a
location.
long time. She might already die because she's bled out a lot. And hold on. What, baby?
77 minutes,
Stay still. What did you say? I'm gonna call 911. She said, please send to her.
Okay. Well, we've got people en route. Get an ambulance, because one of them's still alive, she said. Can you tell me what happened? Ma'am? Hello? Ma'am?
What?
Can you tell me what happened?
I can't get the door open.
You can't get what door open, darling?
The front door, so y'all can come in when y'all get here. Why won't it open?
I don't know.
Hold on. I don't see my one.
Are you on the right-hand side of the road or the left-hand side of the road, sweetie?
I'm at Father Strickler's house. It's going to be in cool. They know where it's at.
Okay, they're coming. They're coming. I would just want to try to clarify exactly where they are. Can you tell me what happened?
I don't want to say. I don't see any lights. They're not coming.
Well, they're on their way. My partner's getting them to you just as quickly as she can. How many? How many children do you have? Huh?